Hi everyone, in this video I'm making smoked ribs. I picked up this packet of St. Louis style pork spare ribs from Costco. Let's go ahead and open them up and prep them. Since these slabs won't fit in my smoker, I'm going to cut them in half. So I'm going to feel for the bone and cut to the side of it. Alright, now that the slabs have been cut in half, it's time to remove this silver skin. So I'm going to take my knife and just run it under the silver skin just to get started, and then take a paper towel and grab the silver skin and pull it away from the bone side of that slab. Now it's a little finicky, so you have to be patient. The paper towel will help you to grab it and then just pull it away. And this is an important step because without doing this, the seasoning will not penetrate the bone side of that slab. Beyond the silver skin, there's not a whole lot to trim off of these ribs. I'm going to leave the fat on and just remove some loose pieces like this. I'm going to season up these ribs with my go-to seasoning called Susie Q's. It's a blend of garlic, salt, pepper, and parsley. With the ribs seasoned up and prepped, I'm going to cover them with aluminum foil and place them into the refrigerator overnight. Good morning. I'm using hickory for this cook today. I'll place 2 handfuls of these chips into the tray. Then I'll add a couple of chunks into the tray. They should ignite after the chips get started. Okay, let's place this wood tray into my Pit Boss vertical smoker. I've had the smoker for a couple of months and I'm really happy with it. I've had the ribs out of the refrigerator for a couple of hours to try to bring them up to room temperature. I'm going to start by placing the thicker ribs on the lower tray because it is hotter on that tray that I'm placing these ribs on. And then I'll place the medium-sized ribs on the middle rack and the thinner ribs on the top rack. I'll be smoking these ribs for 2 to 3 hours between 220 and 250 degrees. So there you see at the top, the temperature is about 220. And as we go to the lower rack, the temperature is right around 250. As the smoke dies out, I'll add more hickory to the wood tray. My goal here is to develop nice color on those ribs. I'm closely monitoring the temperature range between 220 and 250 degrees. I have a probe at the bottom rack. You can see it at 245, and I don't want the top to go beyond 220. These ribs have been smoking for about 3 hours, so let's take a look at them. As you can see, they have really good color, and that's what I was looking for. I also want to develop a nice smoke ring. I also want to start developing the bark. Okay, let's go ahead and take them out and wrap them. These ribs are looking really good so far, but we're only about halfway through the cook. The next step is to wrap them, and then later on we'll glaze them. I'm using Malcolm's recipe from How to BBQ Right for the wrap. I'll start by placing some Parkay margarine down on the foil, then some honey, and lastly, brown sugar. Next, I'll take the ribs and place them meat side down with the bones up, right on top of that margarine, honey, and brown sugar. You don't want to have those rib bones pointing down because it could poke through the bottom of the packets, causing a mess in your smoker. Seal it up nice and tight, and then place it into the smoker. Wrapping during this stage steams the ribs. They will get nice and tender and take on the flavors of those additional ingredients. The ribs have been steaming for about 2 hours with a total cook time of 5 hours. Okay, let's go ahead and open up these packets. As I unwrap the packet, you can see the steam coming out of the packet. These ribs are really moist. You can see how limp they are. I'm using Head Country BBQ sauce to glaze these ribs. I'm going to put a thin layer on and brush it on, making sure that I get all of the surfaces, including the edges and in between the bones. I also want to get both sides. I go light and not heavy because I just want to have a nice glaze, nothing too saucy. These ribs will go for another hour in the smoker to tack up that sauce. It's been an hour, and these ribs are done. The total cook time was 6 hours. These ribs will be served to our friends later in the day. In the meantime, I'm going to cover them with aluminum foil so that they stay nice and warm in an ice chest. And during that time, they'll have a chance to rest and set up. It's time to slice up these ribs. They've been sitting in the ice chest for about 3 hours, and they're still nice and warm. Let's go ahead and pull this one out and cut away one sample. That bark is nice and tacky. And let's take a look at this piece. You can see that nice smoke ring with the bark. And you can just tell it's tender. Look at that glaze on the surface. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a try. All right, it's time to try these ribs. Okay, let's take a look. We have a nice smoke ring on there. Nice bark. Really, really tender and juicy. Let's take a bite. Wow. You know, with all the sugar and honey, it's not super sweet. It's actually very savory. but you can tell that those ingredients gave a nice richness to these ribs. So tender, and look how limp they get when you hold them up. The bone comes right out. If I pull it out, there's the bone. Take another bite. Heaven. Really good. We have one of our guests tonight, Mike. He's gonna try and sample this pork spare rib. Mike, tell me what you think.
It looks great. You could see the coating and the tender meat inside. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Oh.
Yeah, what do you think? It seems like you're overcome with emotion, Mike.
There's definitely a difference in texture between the outside and the inside. The inside is melting. The outside, just as you chew it, it brings that flavor.
That would be the bark on the outside.
That is delicious.
All right. Thank you.
You could taste all the preparation that went into this. It is melting in my mouth.
Go for another bite. Come on, man. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
So there you have it. These are my smoked pork ribs. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider liking and sharing this video with people you know. Please consider subscribing to our channel. We would really appreciate your support. And as always, thank you so much for watching.